10 Rizanda Mizagic. Yeah, 10 Rizanda Mizagic Kizards Rizaded. Dizay number 10 Nizine, everybody. Let's see what... That was awful. Let's see what the first card of the day is on a beautiful Saturday morning. This is Moira Brown, guide author. Who the heck are you? This is from the Fallout set. 3 mana, 1 a red and a white for a 2/3 legendary human citizen. When Moira Brown, guide author, enters the battlefield, create a colorless equipment artifact token named Wasteland Survival Guide. With equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each quest counter among permanents you control, and also has equip 1. Whenever you attack, put a quest counter on target non-land permanent you control. That's how you get quest counters. So it's whenever you attack at all, not just with Moira. And that's something. Terrible. So 3 mana for a 2/3 that also gives you an equipment that equips for 1. The equipped creature always gets +1/+1. Well, no. Well, when the equipped creature attacks, yes. It'll immediately... So it just puts a short sword into play. And then for every attack, the short sword gets longer. I guess is a way to put that. That's a little... Sounds a little off, color, a little dirty. But you can also proliferate more counters onto it. But I think that's stupid. So I don't really know where this fits, dude. It's not even a great commander like in an equipment deck. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna say this is kind of bad and give it a 3.9. Puts 2 permanents into play, Dev. The equipment only costs 1 to equip. What's wrong with you? 4. 3.96. How about that? At least it rounds up to 4. 3.96. I'm not feeling super generous about this card. I don't know why. Crucible of Fire is up next. This is a sweet card, man. It's originally printed in Shards of Alara. 4 mana, 3 and a red for an enchantment. Dragons you control get +3/+3. Nice Dominic Domingo art here. I like that color palette. I like the way it looks in the border. It's good, man. But card is obviously incredibly narrow, but in your Dragons deck, it's ridiculous. I'm gonna give this a 5. I'm just gonna throw a 5 on it, and you deal with that. Because I think that's like about right. I really do. In a Dragons deck, even in a Dragons deck, it's like about a 5. It goes 4 mana for an Anthem effect, but geez Louise, macaroni and cheese. That is quite the Anthem effect, obviously. And like all the things it's boosting are like flying 5/5s. It's pretty dumb that like even your 4/4s now like swing for 7. So I'd play it. If I'm building Commander Dragons, I'm playing the card. But Might Weaver is up next. From Invasion originally. This is also from 10th edition, though. Remember that, in case you ever need to know for trivia. This is 2 mana, 1 and a green for a 2/1 wizard. You can pay 2 and target red or white creature gains trample until end of turn. The Weavers saw very sparing play when they were in standard, but only because a 2 mana 2/1 in certain color combinations was still hard. I think his Hate Weaver was the red one, and it saw play even if there were no, I think it was black creatures in your deck. I can't remember the other. Was it black or green? I can't remember now. Yeah, I think that Hate Weaver was a red creature that you paid 2 and it gives a black or green creature trample. But a lot of decks that played that card like mono red didn't have black or green creatures. If I'm remembering correctly, that's what it was. Might Weaver was not so much the same because green had, better than a grizzly bear at that point in history. So it didn't need stuff like this too much, but you'd catch Might Weaver every now and again because giving trample to a thing is okay, but I'm still not going to really go on and on about this card. I think I've already said way too much. So let's give Might Weaver a good old fashioned 2.32, something like that. Let's go 2.4. I'll go all the way up to 2.4. Trample's a good ability. Next is Saddleback Legac. I like saying this guy's name. Saddleback Legac is 4 mana, 3 and a green for a 3/1 lizard. When it enters the battlefield, support 2. So that means you put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures. So he's kind of 4 mana for 5 power, right? But you got to have other creatures in play. Just the draftiest little Legac you ever saw in your life, right? 1.7. Sure, 1.7. Next is Oaken Siren from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and only that set. 2 mana, 1 and a blue for a 1/2 artifact creature that's also a Siren Pirate. This has flying and vigilance, and you can tap it for a blue. Spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell or to activate the abilities of artifact sources. I have always said this card is okay. 2 mana, 1/2 artifact creature. Okay, 2 mana, 1/2 flying vigilance artifact creature. All right, okay, that's okay. And then it ramps. That's kind of fine. It's a mana dork with flying and vigilance, and it can't be like go for the throat. It counts for if you cast an artifact or an artifact enter the battlefield. It counts for that. So I don't. I kind of think it's okay, man. And I still do. 4.41. 4.42 even, sure. Next is Simic Charm. Not the best charm, but one you'll see from time to time. A green and a blue for an instant. Choose one of these 3 things. Target creature gets +3/+3 till end of turn. Or permanent you control gain hexproof till end of turn. Or return target creature to its owner's hand. So, a bounce spell. Okay, little tempo. You can protect one of your guys. Let's go. Or giant growth. Awesome. Still good. Simic Charm is still good, dude. Playable, even. I'm going to give Simic Charm a 5.2. Stop me. It's more than above average, dude. I'll even give it a 5.26. I'm serious. It's just all of these modes are usable in nearly every game state. Like, this is a very good card. It still is, dude. Rat Colony, everybody. Rat Colony. That's a sweet looking secret lair drop piece right there. But Rat Colony is still like $3 from Mystery Booster 2. That's the white bordered one. I kind of want one of those, but if you want the one from Dominaria, which is just an uncommon, it's $4.28 per copy. But here's the thing. A deck can have any number of cards named Rat Colony. This is just 1 in a black for a 2/1 rat that gets +1/+0 for each other rat that you control. This is legal in Pioneer, by the way. I want to throw that out there. And legal in Modern as well. Why does it cost so much? I guess in Commander Rats, you can play any number of this, right? It works that way. So in Commander Rats, you can play 25 of these and then like a bunch of things that care about rats or whatever. You can play like the guy that comes into play and looks at the top 5. You get all the rats from the top 5 of your library. Karamonix, maybe. He's really good with that. So yeah, why is it $4 though? It's crazy. Why is it $4? I'm going to give this a 4. I'm just going to pop a 4 on this Daddy-O right here. But honestly, it's probably like a 4.6, you know? Maybe I should come up on it, but I'm never impressed by this. I'm really not, man. People are probably going to come after me for that, but I really don't think that this is that great. Here, I'll split the difference. 4.37. 4.37. Is that okay for Rat Colony? That's fine. Wrath of God, the OG baby. So 4 mana, 2 and 2 white for a sorcery. Destroy all creatures that can't be regened. This was back in the day like one of the more feared cards. You know, all the more feared cards from my perspective were white. You know, there's Dark Ritual, Hypnotic Spectre on turn 1, and like you fear that a lot. But just Wrath of God, Armageddon, Balance, Swords to Plowshares. Like I didn't want to play against any like white or blue-white deck back in the day. It's like Wrath of God it's a deep-seated, not hatred, because I've come to terms with the fact that sweepers are just part of Magic the Gathering. But when I started playing, sweepers felt like the most unfair card. Like this felt like the most unfair card that my buddies could play against me, because it's like, you know, it's a 5-for-1 or whatever. You know, I spent 4 turns building my board state. I got like 3 creatures or 4 creatures and an Anthem effect, whatever. And like you spend 1 card in 1 turn and just blow all that off the table. I don't have any cards in my hand anymore. I played all my guys. It's like all my cards. Like what do I do? You spend 1 card. But obviously that'll just teach you not to overcommit, but then that puts you in a whole other thing, because if you don't commit enough, you won't deal enough damage. It's just a whole dance. But that's part of Magic the Gathering. It's a big part of Magic the Gathering. And Wrath of God, again, is the sort of OG sweeper effect that we were all scared of. And it's still good. To this day, just a 4-mana unconditional sweeper is good. So I'm going to give Wrath of God a 7.5. Which is maybe a little bit too high. There have been higher quality sweepers printed. Printers sweeped. There have been higher quality sweepers printed to this point, but I'm giving it a little bit of a bump for being like the original, the innovator. But also, again, like still a more than serviceable Wrath effect. So yeah, 7.5 all day. Next is Plains. Plains gets 5. Canyon Sloth is up next. I believe we've done this card. Next is Talon Archers, originally printed and only printed, actually, in Mirrodin. 5 mana, 4 and a green for a 2/4 Elf Archer with protection from artifacts. It can also block as though it had flying, so it has reach. Pro Artifacts is a fun ability, but why is it 5 mana? 5 mana, so no one can ever play it in a constructed format. This is a limited card. It screams at you. This is like 3. No, it's like a 2 point. No, it's not. It's like a 2.6. Again, protection from artifacts can be wrangled into something, I'm sure. It's just not an ability you ever see. So mostly for that unique effect, I'll give it some love, but not much. You, believe it or not, I don't want to alarm you, but you are already dead. This is a black mana for an instant. Draw a card, but also destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn. This never popped off, dude. Like this really didn't do anything. The problem with cards like this a lot of the time is that they're going to cost you 2 cards, right? Because you have to like either lose a guy in combat and then play this, and so you're down a card, right? Because they only lost 1 card, you lost 2. Or you have to like burn them, like burn their 5 toughness guy with a shock and then hit them with you were already dead. So that's 2 cards to their 1 card. This card fixes that by drawing a card. So it replaces itself in your hand, and it's only a single black mana. It's really good on defense, you know, like they come in with their hugest guy, chump block it. You are already dead, draw a card, kill your huge dude. It's like there's definitely like things you do with the card, but again, never popped off. But I don't hate it, dude. I'm going to give it a 3.7. I like 1 mana cantrip effects like a lot, like an awful lot. Up next is Reduce in Stature, only printed in Dragons of Tarkir. 3 mana, 2 and a blue for an aura that enchants a creature. That creature now has base power and toughness 0/2. So this is terrible by today's standards. You know, we have Witness Protection, we have Unable to Scream. These are all 1 mana auras that make the creature like 0/1s and 0/2s, a 1/1 in Witness Protection's case, and they lose all abilities and stuff. They're just like a million times better than this. And this was never quite good, but like, I don't know, back in the day in like in its draft environment, it's probably like fine Rebluval. As Rebluval goes, it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen, but you know, there's still like things that are way better than this. So let's just drop off a 2 point. No, let's go 3. Let's give it a solid 3 and get a bonus card in this piece because we got a couple of good cards today, but I just don't feel like it quite suffice. What's our bonus card? Polani's Hatcher. We just did that the other day. Come on, Scryfall. The Master. Formed anew. I've never seen this in my life. It's from Doctor Who. This is 2 mana, a blue and a black for a 0/1 legendary Time Lord Rogue with Body Thief. When you cast this spell, you may exile a creature you control and put a takeover counter on it. I don't know if I want to do that. You may have the Master formed anew enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature card in exile with a takeover counter on it. So, why? So I have to have the creature that I'm going to exile. I'm not even sacking it. And it never comes back. Like, even if the Master dies, the creature doesn't come back. So I have the guy in play. Okay. And then I play the Master, exile the guy, and he enters as a copy of it. But I already had the guy. So, like, so I guess you get another ETB, right? So, like, if I somehow sneak an Atraxa onto the table and then attack with that Atraxa next turn, and then I play the Master and I get the ETB and I have an untapped Atraxa. So, like, I guess that does a thing. Maybe. You're in blue-black, so maybe you steal your opponent's guys. And you didn't get the ETB when you stole them, but now you can exile them, so that takes care of them forever. And you get their ETB trigger. That's pretty bad. I think it's pretty bad. I don't know. It's a unique commander, and I tend to like those, but I'm having a hard time cooking with this one. So, like, 4.2, and honestly, I'm giving it a lot of credit with a 4.2. I really am. But that is it for today, ladies, gentlemen, guys, gals, and also non-binary pals. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. I promise. Bye.